If you've run into a creative wall and you feel like you have beat block, this video is for you. Hello and welcome to BusyWorks Beats.com. I need you guys to smash that like button. I ran out of energy on that S. So today I learned from Alex Hormozi in his recent video. It was something like, if you're watching this, it's the right time or something like that. And he explained it this way. He said, sadness is a perception that you have a lack of options. So you become sad. So to solve that, basically you have to introduce options, new plugins, new sounds, new samples, new drum breaks, new ways of going about your workflow. That will inspire you to get out of the state of not creating. Now, on the opposite end is when you're like me and you have 2,000 plugins and you have all this stuff on your hard drive full of drum breaks and samples. It's like, okay, we have so much to choose from. What do we choose? And he calls that anxiety. And he said, in order to solve for that, we have to narrow down the options and focus to make a decision. Decision means to cut. So it means to cut out the excess and make a decision. So in that case, if you have too much stuff, it would be to challenge yourself. Remove the drums for a beat. Remove the snare drum. Remove the hi-hats and see if you can still make a beat. Challenge yourself in that way. So we're going to apply this today. So I just bought Count Drums' new pack called Real Break Library 2. This is actually really fire. Let me see if I can find that drum break. Okay, so this is a super Griselda type drum break. We're gonna grab this, drag it into the playlist. Let's go to song mode, double click. Now what I love about Count is that he never tells you the BPM of his stuff, so you have to guess. All right, let's go to mode, stretch mode, and now let's pull this back to the nearest bar. So because it has that reverb on it, let's hit Control L. I wanna add more sound effects to it. I bought another plugin from our guy. Let me pull it up here. So I bought this plugin called Telephone by Thunder Audio. And it's run by, I'm going to go to his Instagram real quick, just so you guys could go follow him. So here's their Instagram, but who runs this is called Sound by DW, David Walker, Sound by DW, go follow him. And he put out this product called Telephone. I just thought it was so interesting and different. You know, you could tell this came from a mind of a music producer. I said, let me try this out. So I bought it and we're going to use it today in our production. So the cool thing about this plugin is you could press on the buttons and it creates the actual dial tone. And I think he showed on one of his things where I don't know how to clear this to where it clears. But basically, if you dial 911, it actually calls the operator. I'll try to open this back up and do it. All right, so here's a fresh instance.
911, what's your emergency?
So this effect creates audio, and it's really unique because it has texture in it. It's not just a simple filter. It has textures in it too. So let's run our sound through this telephone effect and let's record it into Edison so that we can record the texture into the sample. Let's duplicate this about 4 times. I don't know why my shortcuts aren't working here in FL. So here's what it sounds like with the actual plugin on. So here's without it off, without it on, I mean. Okay, so that's the drum break, and now let's add the effect. Okay, let's go through some presets here. I love this preset called aux chord because it adds a texture. If you listen closely, that's not my mic, that's actually the actual phone. It creates this like static effect. So let's record this into Edison because I want to create those dial tones on top of the sample. So let's hit record. And basically I'm just going to click buttons on the telephone to record them into this production. Okay, so now we have that in Edison. We could hit stop, and then now we have a whole new loop. Let's go to song jump mode. My mouse is acting weird, y'all. Let's send this to the playlist, and now we have a whole new. So here's the original. Also, actually, let me turn off the effect. So here's our original. Here's the altered version. So now we have this really unique take on what a drum break could sound like. So now it's more of a texture as opposed to a drum break. Now we can combine the two. They're going to get phasing because of, wave interference. So instead of doing that, we're just going to use the texture. And then I'm going to build over top of this. So this is a whole different approach to music production. And this is what I mean by, if you feel like you have no options, you need to learn new ways of going about the workflow, get new sounds, new plugins, new drum breaks. Novelty, you need to have options of sounds. All right, let's save this project and let's see what we can create. So now let's do the Metro Boomin technique, which is rhythm first. Now in my, I don't know why my keyboard's like acting weird. FL Studio is like glitching, y'all. All right, so basically in my teachings, I would call this the rhythm expression layer. This is not the main rhythm. This is a layer over top of the rhythm. And I would call this the rhythm expression layer. I don't know why FL is like acting really effed up right now. But let me reopen this project, guys. Okay, now we're back in FL Studio. It's acting normal. I just closed out and came back in. All right, so now we're going to create in the 4 layers over top of this rhythm expression layer. We're going to create harmonies. And again, we're going to try to add new workflows or new sounds I've never used. So to do this, what I'm going to do is run this plugin through a plugin that I haven't used in a long time, or some UA plugins that I just haven't used in this context. So let's go to the UA. I'm on their subscription right now, so I have access to a lot of their plugins, even the ones I didn't buy. I bought a lot of their stuff over time. Let's load up the Capital compressor, and then we're going to run our drums through here. It adds a lot of saturation, so I'm curious to see what kind of sound we can get out of this. Let's try the saturator too. All right, so the signal going in isn't heavy. I'm going to drive the signal going in, turn down the output. This is more of a sound design mixer technique here. I'm just cranking the input. So now you guys can really hear that saturator. So now we've completely transformed the way we perceive that drum. So now it's more of a vibe instead of like the main event. So now I'm hearing the compression a little bit more. Let's make the attack faster. Okay, now let's get weird here. Let's use some plugins I normally wouldn't use on a drum break, like delay, reverb. Let's get a little quirky here. So they have chorus, and there should be... Let's just try chorus for now to widen it out. Now that's more of a texture. I like that texture, but for this vibe, I want to do more of a delay. Just can't think of what it would be called. Okay, so let's go to tape echo. And let's put this on only the effect. So now all we're hearing is the actual effect. I'm not hearing the original at all. So now it's running through this unit completely. I'm just going to go through presets to see what kind of vibe we can get. So I don't know how to adjust the mix level for this plugin. That's the only thing here. It's going to use the wet level. Okay, so now we have an official texture. It's just a weird texture. Okay, so now let's build over top of this. Now we've creepified that drum. Let's pull in some inspiration from some new synths. So Poly Max is another great synth. I told you guys to grab it when you could. Hopefully it's still free. I don't know if it's free anymore, but this is a really well done synth. And now let's produce. We're going to produce in these 4 layers: the top line, the harmony, the contrast, the rhythm. We have a rhythm expression layer. This is an added layer. The rhythm section will be our drums most of the time. The contrast would be our bass. The harmony would be our chords. The top line would be your melody. Now let's create. I'm going to start with that contrast layer. Let's record this in. Okay, so now we have that. Now the thing is, if I take off this, actually never mind. So now the tricky part is staying on rhythm with that loop, but also staying in the tempo pocket. So now we have our contrast layer. Let's find more sounds here. Let's add the Electra. Let's start adding some chords here. I'm gonna go for the Rhodes here. I might use the wah pedal, I might not. It just depends what chord we go for. See how we're creating like more of a vibe as opposed to like, here's my bass, here's my chords. It's like a vibe sound. See what else we can add in here. Trying to think what chords. So we're playing F and E, so we could play. Okay, so now the question is like, what kind of chords or harmony do we add over top of this? I think the suspended chord at E sounds the most authentic. Let's play it very syncopated, not on the downbeat. It's also jump octaves. All right, so again, it doesn't feel like here's A minor, here's B minor. It feels like a vibe, and that's what you guys have to learn how to do is create vibes. Let's add a wah pedal in here. Let's add some phasering. Add some delay. Normally I wouldn't add a phaser on my stuff. Let's add a compressor in here. Now we're getting that vibe. Now we just need a heavier kick and snare. So let's go back to our count drum. Let's find that same loop under the real break. I think it's called, what was it called here? Bozak. Oh, here it is right here. And let's right click, open this and slice. I only want the individual one shots, so let's slice it by the transients and assume that we got the drums separated. I don't know why my CPU is going nuts, so let's figure this out. I think I just have too much stuff going on. Let me see if this, hold up, y'all. All right, so I guess the audio buffer is too fast. All right, so I played a little sloppily there. Okay, so maybe the slop was meant to be there. Let's hit Alt Q. We're going to quantize this to an MPC quantize. I showed you guys how to do this in a different video. things here. I might layer in another snare from a different count kit. Here's one. We're just gonna beef up the snare. Let me show you guys some shortcuts here. Anytime you want to layer sounds, copy the slice X, paste it into whatever you want to layer. So for the snare, you know, it's 1, 2, snare. So the snares come right around here. So we're going to cut everything else out. We're going to hit Alt K, change the key to C, change the scale to none. And then we're going to center here on C5. You have to left click to center on this, hit accept. So it pulls all those notes down to C5, which will trigger the sample at a normal toning. So now every time that snare comes in, it will play. Now I got to find where the kicks would normally play. And I think I wanted these and these. So let's just pull these down, hit control on the key over here and hit shift down. Just get rid of these other hits. So now we have a layered kick. We're going to mess with the timing here. I just realized something. I have 2 kicks layered. Here it goes, doom, 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 doom. That's because this velocity went up. So I'm going to do something a little more advanced. We're going to find this marker number 2, which is just the beginning of a kick here. We're going to send this to a different articulator filter and turn a high pass filter on. This is really advanced. I'm basically just filtering out the second hit so it doesn't clash with the low end of the first hit. We could also do the same thing for the marker number 1. So now we get the texture of the drums and not the clashing of the kicks. Add a pretty soft clipper to the master here. And now we just got to fix that kick timing. I kind of want to add a... Here, let's hit highlight this. Why is my FL acting so weird? Let's hit Alt F. See what happens if we... I feel like the ending got a little sloppy, so let's... Let me Control Z everything. So I was just trying different alternatives on that drum, because again I'm playing to a delay, so it messes up my performance timing. Okay, so now it's just about getting stuff in the pocket. Let's add some cymbals in here. Fill in the gaps with more music once I get these drums tightened up. go to the hi-hat. Let's add the wrench tool. So now it's a battle of like how much hold on, y'all. I'm trying to like think and talk at the same time. So we're battling between velocities of the kick and the drum brake. So if you want to reset the velocities of your kicks, you could hit Alt and just left click and drag. That will reset all the kick volume. Now this will give you a less dynamic performance, but if you want more consistency in your performance here, just hit Alt, left click to restore the velocities. There's a couple ghost notes in here, so I'm just going to edit those out. Let's make this. I'm just going to do stuff and then I'll explain why I did it. I'm trying to talk and do it. It's like we're adding a stereo enhancer here to widen out that drum. Let's add grow speed to the other drum texture because we want to control the groove. I'm just going to have it fade in volume here. This. Let's right click. Turn the snap to grid on. We're gonna right click, make it a single curve like this. So now it's like, and now our groove won't be distracted by that groove. Let's add a little attack to it so it's not right on the grid. Now we're tightening up the groove, it's called. Turning up drums here. I'm also going to mess with the pitch of the drum brake. Now we have a really unique. So it's more of a texture instead of like competing drums. We could also add a compressor to keep it tamed. Let's try the distressor here. Let's do a really high ratio. Let's do something weird with the snare, like pan it. All right, let's shake this up a little bit using the articulator for the volume. Here's where we turn that drum into. Gonna give it a little more attack. So now it's more of a sound effect. Let's find some more sound. I feel like we need this to actually. Here's what I'll do. I'll automate the mix level here for the delay. I feel like the kick is too abrupt. Let's try pitching up this kick. So I'm right clicking to change the pitch of the kick. Let's pitch it down one key. Do the same thing with the hi-hats. We're going to apply the MPC quantize to it. So it's in the MPC pocket. Let's shave off a little high end here. All right, now let's find more instruments. So see how you guys can start thinking about production. I feel like there's just too many kicks. Maybe that's what my ear doesn't like. So I might simplify the kick and the snare pattern just so there's not so many kicks. I think that's better. Okay, so I think this kick is just, we need a different kick. And I'm just doing micro timing movements to get these sounds to line up. Also too, I forgot we need to quantize in the MPC. So it's on the MPC grid, Alt Q. There we go. Here's the kick we need right here. This beat needs a little more movement. Let's see if we can add a little more movement with some kind of other synthesizer here. Just gonna pick on presets I normally wouldn't pick on, like this. 1, 2, 3, and play triplets. And we're not even going to quantize that. So I would call that a rhythmic expression layer. I feel like it just needs one more edgy sound. Let's try some more sounds. I forgot I'm playing to a delay. Let's see if we can cut that off. Here's a cool sound right here. Let's add this in. Also, I realized the drum break from the audio is like really behind the other drum break, the other drum sound, so I'm going to try to line those up better. This would be a contrast expression layer that we just added here. It's not the main contrast, it's more of a layer. Let's see if I can line up these drums a little bit better. I can hear it because that snare goes boom, ka, 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 ka. It's kind of off the grid at the end. So I'm going to try to line up that snare. See how the snare is way over here? It should be right on that grid. I think it's just small inconsistencies in timing. It'd be cool if FL had like a groove time warp quantized, but so now we gotta make this line up. Now it's a little more in the groove. Let's go to the master. Let's start using plugins. I normally wouldn't use, let's use the SSL bus. Changing the timing and the pitch of drums here. Now I'm changing the way the soft clipper is reacting. Let's push the volume into it with an EQ. Some weird, let's add a preamp to the whole mix. Let's take off the compressor. Let's drive the input. I have a real one, but I use it on my microphone. Now we're making it louder. Now we got a crazy Griselda vibe. So if you guys want that telephone plugin, it created the whole vibe for this. I'll leave a link below. Shout out to DW and subscribe if you're new, guys. That's how you guys can get inspired. Peace.